In this video, I wanted to talk about the 5 mistakes to avoid when going to Super Nintendo World. With how crazy the crowds have been, it's important to plan ahead and know what's there so you don't miss anything. Super Nintendo World has been a big hit, and there's been a lot of very busy days at Universal Studios Hollywood. In fact, I've wondered if the summer crowds were a little lower in Orlando because maybe some people who go to Universal Orlando are now going to Universal Studios Hollywood to see Super Nintendo World. So if you're one of those people who have planned or did go to Super Nintendo World instead of going to Universal Orlando this summer, please leave a comment below. It would be great to see how many people decided to go to Universal Studios Hollywood just to see Super Nintendo World instead of going to Universal Orlando Resort. The first mistake I wanted to talk about is not getting the Power Up Band. Now this is very important because there are certain things you will miss if you don't buy the Power Up Band. It keeps track of your score for one thing, and there's a leaderboard in the land that you can check your score throughout the day. You get points, you get stamps and coins for riding the one attraction that's there. And then there's also 4 different mini games or key challenges that you can play, and you will get keys. You need the Power Up Band to show that you got those keys and to be able to collect them. But one of the most important things is if you do not have the Power Up Band, you will not get into Bowser Jr.'s Shadow Showdown. That's the place where you go once you get the 3 keys. So there's 4 different mini games. You can pick either one. You can even repeat one and do it again. And once you get those 3 keys, you can get into Bowser Jr.'s Shadow Showdown. And it's a really fun experience. But if you do not have the Power Up Band, you can't enter and you won't get to see Bowser Jr.'s hideout. Also, there's just so many things in the land that's interactive. You can collect coins, you can hit the blocks, you can hit the question mark blocks, and every time you ride the Mario Kart, you'll get more points. And you could get your name up high on the leaderboard and get a really good score and see that you're one of the top scorers. But if you don't have the Power Up Band, you're not going to have that experience. There's so much to experience in the land, and without the Power Up Band, you're missing a big chunk of what the experience is to be at Super Nintendo World. The Power Up Bands are good for more than just one use. So these are $40, but you can use them multiple times, and they could last years. I'm not really sure how long, but there are people who have gone to Super Nintendo World in Japan who still use those after a few years. It's also a great souvenir that you can take home with you. Plus, you just won't get the full experience of Super Nintendo World if you don't get the Power Up Band. So I highly recommend getting this, and I think it's a big mistake if you don't get the Power Up Band. The next mistake, mistake number 2, is also related to the Power Up Band. So when you go, it's really important to get it the day before, because especially if you're going early, which is highly recommended because the crowds get really crazy and you want to be one of the first so that you get there when the lines are shorter. But the Power Up Band is best if you get it the day before. So make sure that you buy it, because you also need to sync it, and you don't want to waste your time trying to sync the Power Up Band to the Universal app while you're trying to play and have fun at Super Nintendo World. You want to maximize your time by being there and experiencing everything as long as you can. And if you're busy trying to sync up your Power Up Band and buying it, you're wasting those precious minutes that you could be using to get everything done before the crowds get really crazy. There is a Super Nintendo store in City Walk where you can purchase your Power Up Bands, and you don't need a ticket to go to City Walk. So you can do that the day before, sync it up to the Universal Studios app, and then you'll be ready. And plus, there can be problems. I experienced problems with my Power Up Band the night before, so it's recommended that maybe once you purchase it, just stay at Universal and make sure that there's nothing wrong with it, because you will need to go to customer service to talk to them to figure out how to work it, or maybe just go back to the store and they can help you if you have issues connecting it to the app. I think it's really important to get that done the day before so that you have the most time to really enjoy the land and not worry about whether or not your power band is going to connect or not, or if you're going to have issues, or just the time it takes to buy it and connect it. Especially if you're a big family, you'll have several people that you'll need to connect it, and one phone can actually connect a couple different power bands. So not everyone has to have their own phone to be able to connect the power band. Mistake number 3, not getting the early access ticket. Now this is a big one. If you hear any recommendations of what you need to do to go to Super Nintendo World to have the best time, it is getting there early and going and getting the early access ticket, because this allows you to be in the park an hour before it officially opens. You'll have less crowds, you'll be able to get all the interactive games done, and the ride, if it's not too crazy. I have known people who have been able to get all of it done, but it just depends on the day. Sometimes Mario Kart Bowser Challenge can get delays, but if that happens, you still can at least go and enjoy those key challenges and do that while you're waiting for Mario Kart to get back up and running. And the early access ticket only costs between $20 or $30. It just depends on how busy the day is. It doesn't cost too much, and it's well worth it. You'll get so much done and not have to worry about how crazy the crowds get and how long the lines get. I also have a video that goes more in depth with what early access does and what it gets you, and so you can watch that too. Also, another thing is you don't have to worry about getting a reservation for the land, because there are times when, if it's a really busy day, you might have to get a virtual queue to go into Super Nintendo World. But if you have early access, you don't have to worry about that. You can go in, and because you have a ticket to get in early, and you don't have to worry about reserving a time. Another thing is early access tickets can sell out. So as soon as you purchase your regular day ticket, make sure to also purchase the early access ticket. And this, I think, is the biggest mistake that you want to avoid, is making sure that you do get your early access ticket, because you will enjoy the land so much more. Your experience will be completely different if you have to go in when the lines are long and it takes you like an hour just to get through a key challenge. Your day is not going to be as fun. But if you go for early access, your day will be much funner, and you'll be able to experience it without the headache of waiting in line for so long for just going through a key challenge. Mistake number 4, not getting a reservation at Toadstool Cafe as soon as you get into Super Nintendo World. This is also another reason why it's really important to get there early and not later, because those reservations sell out quickly. Everyone wants to eat at Toadstool Cafe, and it's understandable because it's a very cute restaurant. They've themed it so well. You don't want to miss out. It's part of the experience of seeing Super Nintendo World, being able to eat all that food that they themed. It's so fun, and the restaurant looks amazing. So you want to make sure that you do get a chance to eat there. And if you want to eat there, you've got to get there early and sign up to get a reservation as soon as you can. Now, pro tip, you can find the QR code online, so you can have that ready and scan it as soon as you get into Universal. Otherwise, you have to go into Super Nintendo World, and the QR code is in front of the restaurant, and you scan it there and make your reservation. But it's very important that you get there early so you have a chance to eat at Toadstool Cafe. Plus, this is the only place where you can get that Superstar lemon squash. It's so good. It was actually my favorite thing I tried in the restaurant. I think it's worth it just to go there and have that drink. And so if you want to try that drink, then you'll need a reservation. But also, sometimes the land can be less busy at night. And so if you can't get early access, then you could go later, but you will miss having a reservation at Toadstool Cafe. Now for the next mistake, not paying attention to the virtual line access. Some days, like I said before, you may need to reserve a time to get into Super Nintendo World. If it's really busy, they'll require you to get a reservation into the land. And so you got to make sure that you're paying attention when you go, that if you need it or not. Because if you need it, then you got to sign up as soon as you can to make sure that you have access to the land. It would be really bad if you went to Universal Studios Hollywood just to go to Super Nintendo World and couldn't enter because there was a virtual queue and you didn't realize, and so you didn't sign up. So that's one of the mistakes you want to avoid making, is not paying attention if you do need the virtual access. But other than that, there are days when it's not as busy. Now that it's September, there is usually lighter crowds because school has started, so they might not be doing the virtual queue as much. They also have Halloween Horror Nights, which less people are probably going to see Super Nintendo World at this time. So if you go now, there might not even be virtual queues needed. Here's a bonus mistake to avoid, which is not doing your research. There are people who go to Super Nintendo World expecting that it's just one ride and that's it. They don't realize that there are key challenges that you can do. And if you don't experience the key challenges, then you're missing a lot of what Super Nintendo World has to offer. So you want to do your research, make sure you know what the games are and when the meet and greets are, because that is another thing in the land. There is meet and greets, there's a bunch of question mark blocks, there's 8-bit characters all over the land that you can find. I think it was 4 different ones. And so if you do your research, then you'll be able to experience land fully and really enjoy your time there and know where to find like the 8-bit characters, and also what the key challenges are, how to play them, how to be able to score really high and not miss anything. And make sure, if you can, you should ride Mario Kart more than once, because the first time can be a little strange trying to figure out how it all works, because it's a little different how you shoot and score. And so make sure you do it twice if you can, because you'll love it even more. If you go the first time and you're like, that wasn't that great, well, maybe go again and see if you like it even more, because there's kind of a learning curve with the ride, and your experience will be much better the more you play, which is a great feature of the ride, because I mean, each time you could score higher and improve your score and keep getting better. And each time you ride, you get more coins and stamps, and your name will get higher on the leaderboard too. So just make sure that you plan out your trip and know what's there so you don't miss anything, because it's really easy to miss things. I mean, one of the key challenges is inside. It's the Thwomp Panel Panic, and some people miss that. When I was there, that had the shortest line because it was inside, and I think a lot of people missed it and didn't realize it was there. There's also the binoculars on the second level. There's stairs that go up, and you don't want to miss that section because that's really fun, and you can get stamps by looking through those binoculars, and you can find the Pikmin. There's 2 different spots for the Pikmin. I also have a video, a beginner's guide to Super Nintendo World if you wanted to learn a little bit more about what the land has to offer. I'll leave the link down below. So make sure that you do your research and you plan ahead so that you can have the best time going to Super Nintendo World, because it is really fun and you will enjoy it. The more you do your research, the more you know, you'll enjoy it even more because you won't miss out on anything. So I hope this video has helped you, and I hope you will avoid these mistakes and you'll be able to have the best time ever at Super Nintendo World. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment if you've been to Super Nintendo World or if you're planning on going. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next one.